Welcome to the Michigan Golfer Show. Join us each week as we explore the people, the places, and the events that shape our great game.
Hi, I'm Jack Berry. I'm at the West Michigan Golf Show with one of the finest architects of golf in the country, in the world, Mike DeVries, who is from down from Traverse City. And we're going to talk about courses that Mike has done in Michigan that are outstanding, that get top rated in all the magazines. And we're going to start with the Upper Peninsula with Greywalls. And how did it get that name?
Well, thanks for having me, Jack. It's kind of interesting. When they, of course, the club there, Marquette Golf Club, has been around since 1926, and they had 9 holes for about 40 years. And in the 60s, they added another 9, and they had 18 holes, and they had a bunch of other land. And it's an avid place, and they have 600-700 members. And they play a lot of golf. I mean, it's a busy place.
Not just 4th of July.
Not just 4th of July. No, I literally was there on April 15th about 20 years ago, and there were 100 people walking the golf course. I mean, it was 35 degrees and they were playing. So they're avid. And so they needed more golf, and they had some more land adjacent to the course. And it's wild land. I mean, there's a lot of rock outcroppings and sheer granite walls, and so trying to figure out the names of things, and there's a fairly obvious thing in hole number 5 there where you have the big 60-foot granite wall right next to the green, and so the name Greywalls sort of came from that.
How did you tuck that green in there?
It's you wouldn't think that it would work. I mean, agronomically, that it would be very difficult with something that close to it and that difficult. But there's a lot of air movement through that area because the walls actually create a funnel that allows that, and it gets early morning sun, which is really critical, and it gets late sun in the day. So agronomically, the green has always been really good, very well maintained, and not a problem, which you wouldn't think if you looked at it right away.
Now, do you see the big lake from there?
You do, not from that hole, but you do from many holes on the golf course, particularly when you're on the 7th tee. The first tee, you see that, and then you kind of go on some lower land, and you come back to the 7th tee, and you see the lake again. And then it kind of disappears for a while, and it reappears on the 9th hole and the 10th hole, and then you go through the middle of the back 9, and then it reappears again when you're on 17 and 18. So you sort of have these highlights in the ebb and flow of the golf course, which really makes the rhythm of the golf course and the round quite exceptional.
Well, that's a superior course and a superior round. Now, how close is the lake? And do you have any effect from the lake there?
Yeah, well, the lake's probably about 2 miles away, but we're at a higher elevation, actually within the city of Marquette's town limits, and the land slopes down from that. So we're at an elevation where we're 200 or 300 feet above the water, actually. So you get glimpses of that, and you get air comes off of the lake. When it starts, the UP temperature is really not an issue, but in the summer it can heat up. But what happens is about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, there's kind of an inversion, and the wind turns around and pushes cooler air on shore. So you don't really have disease pressures that you have down in Detroit or Chicago, where it's a lot more hot and humid, and that's good for grass. That's good for grass to have that air movement. So.
How about all that rock? Did you have to blast any?
A little bit, but a lot less than you would think. We did about $27,000 worth of blasting, which is not, you can spend a lot of money pretty quickly blasting. So four smaller spots, 2 small spots, 2 medium spots, I'd call it. Not that much, but there's also really good sand, pure sand on the site too. So in the middle of the back 9, holes 11 through 16, there is, it's pure, and we actually used a lot of that sand there for a greens mix. And throughout the rest of the golf course, the front 9's rockier. There's also really good sand there, so we were able to capitalize on that.
Now, do many people have rock balls, or have instead
Probably after they play.
instead of cart burns on their ball?
I'm sure it happens. It's but yeah. You can intentionally try and do that. In some cases, you might want to. You might want to try and bounce it off. But there's a Ken Rushka who was he's been on the board there, and he was part of the search committee. And he's a very good player. He's won the club championship there, and his family has won numerous. His father's won a bunch of times. His mother and his brother, and so he's an avid golfer. And when we first went out on the fifth hole, where the big rock is, I was playing around with Brad Klein, and this was like sort of the first preview round. And when we finished the hole, Kenny said, "Hold on, I've got to try this. I've been waiting 2 years to do this." And he put a ball down, he hit it against the wall, and it bounced back onto the green.
Well, that's like the 17th hole on the old course, the road hole that people have, in the Open Championship.
Bounce it off the
Have
wall.
you seen them? Yeah, they have to hit the kind of a backward shot to get it off the.
Bounce it off the wall.
Seen them,
Play it off the tarmac and everything. You bet. So a little bit of road hole there. I like that.
So what else can we talk about at Greywalls as far as in the building of it, problems you had? Is it different than any other course you've done?
Well, yeah, they're all different. They're special in their own way. It's a difficult property because you have rock and you have a lot of elevation, and we also had of the about 240 acres, 42 or 3 acres of that was wetland or adjacent to a trout stream, a brook trout stream. So we had to be very conscious of that, and we had a consultant that delineated all of the wetlands, right away. Because we wanted to know where those were, and we wanted to stay away from those margins. And there are places where you hit over them, and there were, particularly on the fourth hole, there were some wetlands that we had to disrupt, and so we mitigated for that. And we created a number of wetlands to replace those and do that. And we worked with the DNR, the DEQ up in the UP, and they've said that's the best mitigated wetlands that they've ever seen. I mean, literally, they said it's that successful that it really, really worked well. And so, it is a challenge, but there are solutions to those types of things too, where you can actually introduce things and provide for options for people and create great golf with it too.
Well, you've obviously a lot of people have been very impressed with it by the high ratings that it's had in both Golf and Golf Digest. That must be very pleasant to you.
Yeah, it's always nice to be recognized. Certainly, that's a bonus when that happens, and sometimes you don't know that it's going to happen. But it's been very well received by a lot of people. Golf Week, in particular, it's in its top 100. I think it's 67 or something like that in the U.S. So
pretty good for a course. It's in the area that not too many people visit in the Upper Peninsula. There, it's I know that the Yoopers are real proud of that golf course.
Well, it is, and Marquette's a fantastic town. It really is great. College town, and right on. There's 2 different harbors, and so you're right on Lake Superior. It's a really active place. And the club is a really vital part of that community. And there's all walks of life, that are there. You've got professors, and you've got doctors, and you have, regular iron workers and things too. I mean, everybody's a part of the club. So it's a very community-oriented place, and it's really fun. And I always have fun going back up and playing the golf course and seeing everybody again.
Well, Mike, we say a lot of people like that golf course, and I haven't been able to get up there myself, and I'm looking forward to it because all those pictures I see of it, you did a sensational job on a beautiful piece of property.
Well, thanks, and you got to get up there. You got to see it. So plan for that this summer, Jack.
All right. And everybody else, get up to Greywalls in Marquette. Cross that bridge and see a fine, fine golf course.